The Holy Gospel according to St. Luke chapter 16. Jesus said to the disciples, "There was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to him that this man was squandering his property. So he summoned him and said to him, 'What is this I hear about you? Give me an accounting of your management, because you cannot be my manager any longer.' Then the manager said to himself, 'What will I do now that my master is taking the position away from me? I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I have decided what to do so that when I am dismissed as a manager, people may welcome me into their homes.' So summoning his master's debtors, one by one, he asked the first, 'How much do you owe my master?' He answered, 100 jugs of olive oil. He said to him, 'Take your bill, sit down quickly, and make it 50. Then he asked another, 'How much do you owe?' He replied, 100 containers of wheat. He said to him, 'Take your bill and make it 80. And his master commended the dishonest manager because he acted shrewdly. For the children of this age are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light. And I tell you, make friends for yourselves by means of dishonest wealth, so that when it is gone, they may welcome you into the eternal homes. Whoever is faithful in a very little is faithful also in much, and whoever is dishonest in very little is dishonest also in much. If then you have not been faithful with the dishonest wealth, who will entrust you with true riches? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will give you what is your own? No slave can serve two masters, for slave will either hate the one who loves the other, or be devoted to the one that despises the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. The Gospel of the Lord.
Glory to you, O Christ.
Please be seated. Not even be aware, but we are bombarded with so many choices, day in and day out. We encounter selection process at every aspect of our lives. There are so many choices to make all the time. Too many choices. Just to talk about. What would you like to have? And then you start off saying fruit juice, soda, tea, chocolate, coffee. You start off with those choices. And someone would say, tea please. Ceylon tea, herbal tea, bush tea, honey bush tea, iced tea, green tea, chai. Then of course you have to make a choice. Someone will say, Ceylon tea. How would you like it? Black or white? White. Milk, whitener or condensed milk? With milk. Goat milk, camel milk or cow milk? Cow milk please. Milk from Friesland cow or Africano cow? You know what? I would like it black. Would you like it with sweetener, sugar or honey? With sugar please. Beet sugar or cane sugar? Cane sugar. White, brown or yellow sugar? Forget about tea. I'll just have some water. Mineral water or still water? Mineral water. Flavored or non-flavored? I would rather not have anything. So sometimes choices make our life more difficult. We are made to sweat the small stuff in a given society that we live in. We are made to worry and care for too much for the matters that doesn't matter actually. Much of those situations are not life and death situations. Simple choices that we need to make every day that actually take away our simplicity of life. A psychological study says it seems we are better wired for a simpler and perhaps for binary situations rather than needing to make choices between so many variety of choices. Today in the text, Jesus calls us to make a critical choice. The truth is that, as Jesus says, the slave cannot serve two masters. For a slave will either hate the one and love the other, or be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and you cannot serve wealth all at the same time. But Jesus is always like this. Why not both? They both are good, right? I love God and I also love money, wealth, accumulation of riches. I don't care how I get those riches. I don't care who is starving. I don't care who is homeless. I don't care. I love God and I also love wealth. After all, I am getting this wealth because God is blessing me. All my wealth is legal, of course. It is all white. What are you talking about? I have nothing to be guilty about. I know we all want this to be the thing that we follow in our lives. But Jesus is asking us to make a critical choice. You can only serve one, God or wealth. I won't believe if you say both, I love you God, I also love my wealth. Because a lot of times, accumulation of wealth comes in the wrong ways. That may not be ethical in the sight of God. That may be legal. That may be white, but still, maybe there is a different understanding why it is difficult. It seems there was this lawyer purchased a box of very rare and expensive cigars, then insured them against the fire among other things. Within a month of having smoked his entire stock of pile of these, and great cigars without yet having made even first premium payment on the policy, the lawyer filed claim against the insurance company. In his claim, he says, the cigars were lost in a series of small fires. The insurance company refused to pay, citing the obvious reason that the man had consumed the cigars in the normal fashion. The lawyer sued the company and he won. In delivering the ruling, the judge agreed with the insurance company that the claim was frivolous. The judge stated nevertheless that the lawyer held a policy from the company in which it had warranted the cigars were insurable and also guaranteed that it would insure them against fire without defining what is considered to be unacceptable fire, and was obligated to pay the claim. Rather than endure lengthy and costly appeal process, the insurance company accepted the ruling and paid $15,000 to the lawyer for his loss of the rare cigars lost in the series of fires. After the lawyer has cashed the check, the insurance company had him arrested on 24 counts of arson, with his own insurance claim and testimony from the previous case being used against him. The lawyer was convicted of intentionally burning his insured property and was sentenced to 24 months in jail and $24,000 of fine. The lawyer may be smart and shrewd, the insurance company outsmarted them. It's all about money and wealth. Jesus is also teaching today a lesson that one cannot acquire so much wealth and also still be loving God. And he tells us a strange parable about a shrewd manager. To recap the story, there was a rich man who had a manager, maybe you would call him steward, the one who takes care of everything. And this manager was reported to him as squandering his possessions. And he called to him and said, "What is this I hear about you? Give an accounting of your management, for you are no longer will be my manager." The manager says to himself, kind of talks to himself, "What am I supposed to do? Since my master is taking away, I am not strong enough to dig and I am ashamed to beg. I know what I shall do so that when I am removed from the management, people will welcome. And then he tries to fix the problem that he has created. And at the end, when he fixed, Jesus was commending this manager because he acted shrewdly. What sounds difficult in this story is seemingly that Jesus commends the bad guy who squanders the possessions, who acts corrupt. But why is Jesus commending him of his smartness? Jesus is also showing his graciousness there to this bad guy. The manager, of course, faced the consequences for his bad conduct and bad choice. He is no longer can be that manager of that place. He cannot escape the consequences of those bad choices, in small ways or big ways. But then, even though you've made bad choices, still you deserve some appreciation when you did something right. He messed up the things. He did not complain. He did not defend his status, but then he tried to go and try to fix it. He tried to act shrewd in given circumstances. And that's what Jesus is saying. But then look at what happens to him. He lost his job. Can he gain favor back? Absolutely not. Money can bring many temptations. But one must be careful the way for that it is not to have love for wealth, not be enslaved to it. And Jesus is saying that's what he's saying. You cannot be enslaved to wealth. It is different to have some money for our living is different from accumulation of wealth or getting enslaved to it. If God were to ask, give up that wealth for my sake, if we know how to give up that wealth for the sake of God, for the love that we have for God, that means definitely we love God, not wealth. But if given that situation, if we give up God for the sake of wealth, we also can recollect the rich man when Jesus said, go and give away all your wealth to the poor and come back and follow me. He felt so sad about that advice. He turned away and went away. And so you cannot claim you love God in that given circumstances. Jesus calls us to make a critical choice through this parable of the shrewd manager. Whether we want God to be our master or wealth to be our master. Which one do you want to make the choice between? Mahatma Gandhi said there are 7 social sins. Wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, worship without sacrifice, politics without principle. When I read this, I thought, we are into all of these. Truly. Lord, have mercy. That was my prayer. As you can see, wealth tops the list. Jesus always spoke against the accumulation of wealth. Somehow accumulation, sometimes replaced as collections. That was not one of the favorite things of Jesus. But to give it a thought, what's so wrong with wealth? Just to give it a thought. I know when we talk about others, we tend to judge them by their worth. But then when a child is born, which child deserves to be wealthy? Which child deserves to be poor? Can you say there are some children? Can you say a child of the parents who made bad choices in life deserves to be poor when the child is born? You wouldn't agree with that, right? Similarly, can you say a child is born into a royal family deserves to be wealthy? No. So no child deserves to be poor and no child deserves to be wealthy. And Jesus is talking exactly about that. But as long as there are poor, there will be wealthy. And in its corporate sense, there is a problem. Jesus warns his disciples against being a slave to money and wealth. He warns of the dangers for spirituality that accumulation of wealth can bring. C.S. Lewis says, one of the dangers of having a lot of money is that you may be quite satisfied with the kinds of happiness money can give. But so fail to realize your need for God. If you have so much money, a lot of times, there is no dependency. That's a possibility. If everything seems to come simply by signing the checks, you may forget that you are at every moment totally dependent on God. And he continues to say, now quite plainly, natural gifts carry with them a similar danger as well. If you have sound nerves and intelligence and health and popularity and good upbringing, you are likely to be quite satisfied with your character as it is. Why drag God into it? A lot of people say that. You may ask, a certain level of good conduct comes fairly easily to you. You are not one of those wretched creatures who are always being tripped up by all these bad tempers. Everyone says you are a nice chap, and between ourselves you agree with them. You are quite likely to believe that all this niceness is your own doing. And then we become quite complacent, and we think we are rich in our character. We are wealthy in our character, and we don't want God there. Being so wealthy, accumulation, when we depend ourselves on that, then it is possible that we don't see the need to depend on God. And that itself is a danger. Because there will be time when we realize that is needed. Wealth cannot bring everything that you are asking for. Wealth cannot give extra breath in our lives. Only God can do. And to realize that grace and mercy from God, that humility is so important. And God is, of course, talking about what all the dangers that wealth can bring. And we have several places where we can see that in the Bible. Today, between so many choices that we are used to, God is asking to make a critical choice. To not to be enslaved. To not accept wealth as our master, but accept God as our master. We may say in our daily lives, oh no, I may have so much wealth, but it's never my master. But remember, you lose your wallet. You lose one of your credit cards. And see how you react. We will run all around. The minute we own something, we are not the masters of that property. The property becomes the masters to us. Because we are never ready to lose it because we are enslaved. When we lose our wallet, you know what will happen? And that is exactly what Jesus is saying. Not to connect, not to attach ourselves to those kind of things. If they are around you, you will do that. And so better not be around them. And so Jesus is warning all of us to make that critical choice today. May God bless these words.